super exciting is that we can give away statistics to the brands that own their location about how many people are checking in, what times a day are they checking in, what times of the day are they checking, what times of the week are they checking in, how many people are sharing their check-in to Twitter or Facebook. What's the male-female breakdown? What's the demo breakdown in terms of age group? The mayor is also going to be shown in the dashboard. The mayor is the person that checks in the most into any given location, by the way. And then also your top 10 customers, right? This is really valuable data, and you can download that in an Excel spreadsheet, slice it and dice it, and do whatever you want with it. The other benefit is what I was referring to is specials campaigns. You can set those up like AdWords campaigns are run. You can select a couple of stores that you want to run a specific special in. When you see there's a store that really needs more people to come through the door, you can use a special to kind of entice that footfall. Or you could think, I want to reward really loyal customers and use the specials in that way. This is kind of the funnel of different specials that we have. I'll give you a couple of examples for those. For instance, the newbie special is only for the very first time you check into a store, you unlock that, right? So I think Sophie's Steakhouse in Soho has a newbie special. If you check in, you get a free glass of red wine, or house wine, that is, which is pretty cool. You just go there, have your steak, and get a nice free glass of wine. Friends special, bring 3 or 4 of your friends with you to unlock a specific special, right? Flash special, first 20 people who check into the HMV when a band is playing will get a signed copy of the CD of that band, for instance, right? These flash specials are also great for restaurants or small businesses to do yield management. When they see there are not enough people in the store, why not put this flash special in there, say, hey, you get your side dish for free, come in and see us right now, the first 20 people will unlock it. Let me talk about the check-in special. Check-in special is every time you check in, it unlocks. Domino's has a great one here in the UK. When you spend more than 15 quid and check into a place, you get a free garlic bread, pizza bread, or potato wedges. And the great thing about that is they've tied the special to a purchase, so people actually have to spend money to unlock this special. And the second thing is you have to get off your couch to go there if they save the delivery fees. And then there's the loyalty special, which are kind of like stamp cards. Check in 6 times and you unlock XYZ. And then there are mayor specials, which are the specials that are reserved only for that one person that essentially is the mayor of the place. There's a stadium, football stadium in the US that has a dedicated parking spot for the mayor, for instance, which is pretty cool. Or some restaurants around the place mayor can jump the queue during lunchtime, for instance, which is pretty cool as well. So it's not only about discounts, it's also about status or giving people a specific special reward or making them feel special, really. You get lots of analytics and statistics about these specials. One of the things that we really recommend is try to use the specials in different ways. Try to have one customer acquisition special and one customer loyalty special up at the same time. Let's talk a little bit about pages. So the great thing about Foursquare is we offer brands that don't have locations to interact with users on the platform as well, right? So pages are essentially your representation as a brand on Foursquare, and the main editorial content on your page will be the tips that you leave at different locations. We were referring to tips earlier when I was talking to a user-generated tip about one key and the T over there, but brands can actually go in and take advantage of that too, and really generate mindshare in places where they don't have a channel. I'll give you an example. I went for dinner with the head of media for Foursquare in New York. We went to a really nice steak dinner, and there was a tip at the restaurant from Top Chef. It's kind of the same as the F Word. It's a cooking show where cooks battle it out. And one of the finalists of a show had left a tip at the restaurant and said, you should try the mashed potatoes, right? So the tip showed up really high for him because he was following Top Chef. I had no idea about Top Chef, so I didn't see the tip show up. So learning here, if you have a brand, you want users to follow your brand because then the tips will be anchored at top. So it's tip SEO to get users to follow your brand page. And the second thing that happened was 15 minutes we talked about Top Chef. I had no idea about this show. We tried the mashed potatoes, they were delicious. So in a restaurant where Top Chef is not running on the TV or is not in front of us, all of a sudden they had mindshare, they had 15-minute airtime, and we had a great experience by using that tip, right? So it's a higher level of engagement that creates loyalty in a different way. And it's so much so that I'm talking to you about it right now. So let's look at a page. You see there's a media asset at the top, a little bit of a description, some links, and then the tips on the bottom. The great thing about tips is tips extend further than just the venue that they are tagged to. So let's say, I'll give you a good example for the UK History Channel. They have left tips at all the historical sites in London. If I follow them and I check into a place that is nearby, a place where the History Channel has left a tip, my phone will give me a notification and say, hey, the UK History Channel has left a tip nearby. You might want to go and check that out. And the great thing about the UK History Channel is they have historical content there that gives you a completely different appreciation about your city, right? You see a historical picture of Big Ben from 100 years ago, and you compare it side by side to that thing, and then you see that it's built then and then, etc. So it's a virtual tourist guide de facto that they've created. Creating a page is pretty simple. I'm going to jump through this a little bit. One other thing that I would like to tell you about is Radar, a functionality that we've created that allows us to push notifications to you. Now, this is completely opt-in. If you have an iPhone and you have the newest app, you can hit a button on the top left, which is Radar, and that allows us to listen to your location. I say listen because we won't record it or broadcast your location. We'll just listen to see where you are and if there's anything interesting that we can push to you. So we could, for instance, tell you, hey, there are 3 of your friends that are checked in nearby. Hey, a brand that you're following, in this case the UK History Channel, has left a tip nearby. You might want to go and check it out. So all of a sudden, you're not thinking about Foursquare, you're not thinking about UK History Channel. They are there because they've kind of tagged their content to a location, and because you're in that context, that information is so much more valuable to you, and you like interacting with it. One caveat: location-aware apps, or these functionalities, still drain a lot of battery. This is not one of our faults. I think it's generally just the handsets are not at that stage yet. If you have battery to spare and you feel like you want to get some local recommendations, turn Radar on. But if you're in a hunch, or if you don't have enough battery, you better not turn it on because it does dry out your battery quite quickly. That said, I think the next generations of phones will support this a lot better, and it's essentially the future of our app, and I think the future of location-based services in general. You can leave tips as a brand everywhere you want to. You don't have to travel there, even if you want to go to Bali to leave a tip at the Four Seasons there. You should leave tips and you should leave pictures and links with tips. They're more viral that way and are picked up more. And some of the tips are like provide interesting context when you're leaving a tip. Try to use a clever tone or the tone that you use on other social media. Give insider information and help people make decisions in general. Let's talk a little bit about a list. So The Guardian essentially created a list, and a list is a curated list of tips, if that makes sense. So let's say The Guardian could have 300 different tips around London, but some of the tips they've grouped up to a list. And one of the lists that they've created is the Guardian Olympic Park Walking Tour. So you can follow this list, you can turn on Radar, and then you walk around East London, and your phone will buzz you and tell you, oh, by the way, this is a place which is a pub where you have a really nice view if you go to the second floor over the Olympic Park, right? Or this is a place where that crane fell on itself, blah, blah. I'm just making up stuff as I'm going here. But you can see you can tie really interesting stories, content, and experiences to these these lists, and people can follow them. So a couple other examples. Time Out has been creating a lot of lists now in London, which you should have a look at. I think it's foursquare.com/timeoutlondon. Another one I think is a list of all independent bookshops in London, for instance, by The Guardian. Or you can have collaborative lists as well, where you can invite your followers on Foursquare to actually add points of interest to a specific list that you have. Here are some of the examples. Independent bookshops, London's best parks and gardens, for instance, by Time Out, Telegraph's London's best top rooftops, and then some US examples where you have best boutique shopping guides to LA and Miami, and Stars hotspots from People magazine. The great thing, and I might add this here, the UK History Channel has more followers on Foursquare than on Twitter. And it's because they've really managed to capture this one vertical, historical content on Foursquare, and own that really all over the UK. And they've done a really great job by providing interesting context. So there are a lot of verticals that are not really owned yet, so to say, and there's a lot of opportunity to leave tips to create that thought leadership, so to say. Let's talk a little bit about badges. Badges are small virtual goods that